What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we are going to be talking about 10 guns you should get right now. Now these are some of the absolute best guns that we've had on the channel this year and last year, and I think they'll be great choices for you guys as well. We've got a good mix of guns from rifles to shotguns to pistols. If you're looking for concealed carry, if you want to go hunting, if you want to protect your house, all of it is going to be covered in this list. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you guys we have ammunition to make this video, so we really appreciate you. If you want to support the channel, it's the best way to do it. Just go down to the link in the description, sign up. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. It is a youth shelter, and we put their donate page in the description of every video that we do. And if you have some time, I'd appreciate it if you would go down there, click that link, and donate to those kids. I'd really appreciate it. All right, in at number 10, we have a gun that I just picked up a couple of weeks ago, but really impressed me. This is going to be the Canic Mte MC9 LS. Well, I like this. Canic is a company that delivers a lot for a low amount of money traditionally, and they're a lot more mainstream than they used to be. They broke into the game with the TP9 series over a decade ago, and since then they've produced high value handguns all the way from micro 9s up to full-size competition guns. This is a little bit of a mix. This is a micro compact. Now I know that sounds strange, but what that stands for is it's only an inch wide, and it happens to be almost the same size as a Glock 19 in height and length. The gun comes with a 17 round capacity, making it a great all-around choice for not only concealed carry, but you can use it for a home defense gun as well. This one has a 4-inch barrel. It has a red dot from the factory. We have steel iron sights that are serrated for glare. We got front slide serrations, a Picatinny rail, and one of the best triggers in the industry. The Canic runs the same trigger mechanism as the Walthers, and as you can see here, that crisp 3.5 pound trigger pull with an incredible reset, all for a low price of around $500 out the door, making it one of the best deals in the gun industry of 2024. If you're looking for a concealed carry handgun and you don't want to pay a lot of money, but you still want to get a phenomenal gun, it's a good place to start. In at number 9, going up in price just a little bit, this is the Walther PDP Pro X. Now, if you're looking for a gun that you can impress your friends with on the range and you can still defend yourself extremely well, the PDP Pro X is what I would consider to be one of Walther's premium models. Maybe just shy of the steel frame match, the PDP X performs at a very high level and punches way above its weight class. Now, the Walther PDP X is the 4.5-inch slide version with the included comp and the full dust cover. Now, the amazing part about this gun is that it shoots extremely flat and has one of the best triggers in the industry, but is still so light that you can carry it all day and not notice. This gun's under 30 ounces, and I shot this at over 150 yards in the first shot. Now, we've had failure with this gun while we were shooting it, but since then we've had absolutely no problem, so I can say that it stands right up there with the standard PDP reliability. You just get the Walther dynamic trigger, which is extremely impressive and rivals 2011's in actual break and reset. You can see here we have a crisp 3.5 pound break and a reset so fast, if you blink your eye, you'll miss it. Now, the PDP has been one of my favorite guns since it was released over a few years ago now, and it still maintains that due to its reliability, its accuracy, and its price to performance ratio. If you're looking for a premium polymer frame gun with a compensator and a red dot right out of the factory, this is a good place to start. They're only about $1,000, which seems like a lot, but for what you get, it is a solid deal. Now that we've got some of the handguns covered, if you're looking for a good hunting rifle or maybe a good ranch rifle, we have the Ruger American Gen 2. Now, the Ruger American is an extremely affordable bolt-action rifle series that has been popular in the United States for a very long time. The Ruger American Gen 2 was released this year to rave reviews. This is the actual third one that I've shot now, and I actually am very impressed considering these guns come in for under $500. As you can see here, we have this spiral fluted barrel. We have a threaded barrel as well, so if you want to put suppressors or muzzle devices, you can do that. We have a sling swivel for bipod, and we have a very ergonomic forend, which makes it really easy to grip the gun even in cold weather, which is definite upgrade from the original. As you can see here, the gun takes standard AR magazines with a magazine release on the side there, not some weird thing on the bottom, but you actually have a push button magazine release that works very well. Now on the back here we have the safety, and the actual operation of the bolt itself works very well. It's a very smooth rifle for the price. However, if you want the smoothest rifle, you're definitely going to have to pay a lot more. I would say that's probably the only downside of the Ruger American, is that it does have a little bit rougher bolt than some others. Now it comes with a Picatinny rail to mount optics, and it also comes with a raised cheek piece on the stock, which allows you to get a more comfortable fit on your face to try to level it off with the scope. That way you're not hovering around in space looking like a dumbass when you're trying to shoot a deer. Overall, I think it's one of the more complete budget bolt action rifles that I've ever seen. I think it's the highest selling of the year, and it's hard to go wrong. One caveat that I would add is that if you get it in 300 blackout, just don't do that. I've shot the 5.56 version of this and the 308 version. They both performed extremely well, although the 300 blackout, because it is a big fat cartridge, very similar to the 7.62x39, it does have a harder time loading into bolt guns, and it will make your bolt experience fairly miserable. In at number 7, we have the PCC of the list. This is the Palmetto State Armory ARV. It is a weird mix of an AR with an MP5 with the PDW system already on it, and I saw this goofy looking thing and I absolutely had to have it. And when we shot it, I was more than impressed. I had lower expectations because sometimes Palmetto is good, sometimes it's bad, but in this case I had an absolutely phenomenal experience. The gun comes with standard capacity magazines, AR-15 controls, and it comes with this weird handguard that is very reminiscent of the MP5. Picatinny rail with the tri-lug adapter already mounted, so if you want to suppress it, you absolutely can. And the blowback operation of the gun, although sometimes can be a little bit harsh on other guns, this was one of the more smooth shooting 9mm pistols that we have ever had on the channel, able to hit accurately at distance and able to shoot extremely fast up close. Overall, I think this is one of the best bangs for the money that you can get. If you want to get into a PCC for the first time, or you have 10, you want another one, I think it's a good way to go. In at number 6, we have a 2011. Now, I wanted to put a 2011 on this list because this year for me has been 1911 year, and we have shot at least a dozen of them on the channel so far, and I tried to bring you what I think is the best one for the money. Now, it's not the cheapest one we've shot this year, but price versus performance ratio on the new Springfield Prodigy comp was extremely impressive. I mean, I had a terrible time with the original, and I expected nothing coming from this one, and when we shot it, I was like, damn, this is a little affordable XC. I mean, it performs almost as well as my Staccato XC, my Staccato XC being $4,500, whereas this gun is $1,600 and some change. Springfield has to stop making good guns this year, or I won't be able to shit on them anymore. This is probably the most affordable high-performance 2011 that you're going to be able to buy on the market. It comes with a red dot mount from the factory, raised suppressor height sights with an included single port compensator, which works very well. We have a full-length dust cover, a 5-inch slide with a 4 1/4 inch barrel, and then we have a magazine capacity out of the factory of 17 rounds or 20 rounds depending on which magazine that you get. The single action system of the 2011 allows you to have extreme accuracy and extreme speed even over a lot of the polymer frame Wonder 9s because of the trigger system that the 1911 uses and has used for over 100 years. As you can see here, the trigger travel to the rear is not only very light, a sub 3.5 pound trigger, but it also resets extremely quickly, allowing for fast follow-up shots. Add that to the fact that you have some weight to it, it's around 39 ounces, and you have that single port comp reducing the recoil. You can shoot this gun unbelievably fast, and it is a whole lot of fun for around the $1,500 price point. Holy shit. Well, I like this. One of the more expensive guns we have on the list, but I figured I would add it since there's more 2011 fans now than ever. Honestly, the Prodigy, when it was released 2 years ago, introduced people to the double stack 1911 or 2011 platform and allowed them to get into it for an under $2,000 price point, making it accessible to at least some people. And the Prodigy comp, I think, has doubled down on that, added the compensator, added some features, and actually made a pretty phenomenal gun. In at number 5, easily one of the best guns of the year, and it is probably the best micro 380 that has ever been made. This is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. The Bodyguard is like a noisy cricket that you can actually hit something with. Arguably the best performance for size to weight that I've ever seen. This gun is around 10 ounces, making it super lightweight and almost half the weight of a standard shield. The gun comes with a 10-round capacity of 380 ACP using the same magazine technology of the shield, just in 380, and making an unbelievably tiny yet weirdly shootable handgun. Part of that is because of the undercut they've done on the trigger. Part of that is because of the grip. The grip actually feels really good. The bore axis is super low. As you can see there, we have like ½ an inch of bore axis over my hand. And then the trigger on this is absolutely insane. As you can see here, flat face trigger, breaks at under 5 pounds, and then the reset is a little bit longer, but not very long. We got front slide serrations. We have an HD front sight with a blacked out rear, and the sights are also steel, so Glock, eat your heart out. All of that for around $500, making this immediately one of the most anticipated guns that has ever been released by Smith & Wesson, and I've seen these everywhere since they've been released because they are very, very popular for a reason. I mean, a gun just big enough to fight with and small enough to carry absolutely anywhere. Who wouldn't want that? Now, probably the only downside of the gun is that it's chambered in 380 ACP, which is on the borderline for penetration, at least according to the FBI standards. However, modern day 2024 380 is not 1990 380, and the ballistic capability of the 380 has increased along with the 9mm. It's still a little bit underpowered, but I think it's more than good to go, at least for modern day concealed carry. Considering the fact that your soccer mom can be strapped with a 10-round capacity in her fanny pack, I think it's an awesome gun. In at number 4, we have the CMMG Descent. Now, this is a relatively expensive rifle, but there's a reason why it's on this list. With everything that's going to be going on in the next year, I think it's more important than ever to not only have a gun for self-defense, but a really good one. And if you live in a state that maybe doesn't allow you the rights that you should have and America stands for, you can always get one of these, because this bad motherfucker right here is 46 state legal. When I made this video 3 months ago, it was 47 state legal, but one of those states had a tissy fit. But if you're not in those 4 states, you can purchase this guy, which you otherwise might not have been able to do. CMMG made this rifle for a very particular reason, and that was to be allowed into places that you otherwise might not be able to buy an AR-15, yet still have the capability and the performance of an AR-15. So what we have here is a 16-inch barrel with a full M-LOK rail, so if you want to put lights, accessories, pack, whatever you want to do, you can do that. The gun comes with a muzzle brake because even though it's a little bit less effective tactically than a flash hider, muzzle brakes are allowed in a lot of places flash hiders are not. Again, we don't have that evil pistol grip, but here we have a more traditional stock with the Magpul shotgun stock on the back. Now, it makes it just as shootable, but again, legal in places it otherwise wouldn't be. And then we have our controls up here. We have our magazine release, and we have our bolt and bolt lock. The magazine release is ambi, so if you want to run it on either direction, you absolutely can, along with the cross bolt safety of what looks to be sort of like an 870. I guess it has an 870 stock, so that sort of makes sense. I actually wasn't really interested in this rifle, but when I found out it was legal pretty much everywhere, and then I actually shot the thing, I was surprised at how impressive it actually was. Super fast, super accurate, takes standard AR-15 mags and the 223 caliber. But if you don't want it in 223 or 5.56, they make it in 308 and even 6 ARC and several other calibers as well. Now, the gun comes out at around $2,000, which is relatively expensive, but more affordable than the SIG variant that came out earlier, which can go upwards of $3,000. And personally, for me, I put my money on this. I'll spend that extra $1,000 at the grocery store and buy a couple of burgers. In at number 3, we have the Mossberg 590 Standard Edition. We've had a lot of these on the channel. We've actually had the Mossberg 88, the Mossberg 500, and then we've also had the Mossberg 590 Retro with the wood furniture. This is the affordable version that I actually picked up for only 400 bucks, and I absolutely had to put it on the list. Not only does it look mean, but it's extremely versatile and extremely useful. This gun here comes with a 20-inch barrel, has an awesome capacity of 7 or 8 rounds. It comes with an HD front sight, that cool looking heat shield, and then we also have the Mossberg dual system on the pump, and then we have the ambi safety on the top. The tang safety on Mossbergs are why I always recommend this gun, because instead of the Remington crossbolt, which is only easy if you are a right-hander, if you're right or left-handed, you can run the tang safety with no issues. This one also came with ghost ring sights, which is very cool, and a shortened up stock, so if you're a smaller stature person, you can still run this. Now, the idea of a shotgun in 2024 gets thrown around a lot, and some people poo-poo it and some people don't. don't. Personally, I think there isn't a much better home defense setup that you can get than a 12 gauge shotgun. Extremely lethal, extremely affordable, extremely available. You can get ammunition anywhere, and it will literally run any type of ammunition because it is manually run by the pump. You don't have to worry about lighter loaded or heavier loaded ammunition like maybe on a Benelli M4, for example. A 590 will run anything you put through it and more. I think it'll make you feel all warm and fuzzy knowing that you have 9 rounds of buckshot in case those looters or burglars show up to your house. You can make them regret it. In at number 2, we have sort of an OG, but I couldn't resist putting it on this video. I was trying to go through the list of all the guns I've shot in the past few years and tried to figure out what would be the best do-it-all handgun, like the best. Like if you were gonna buy one handgun, you wanted to carry it, maybe you wanted to shoot some bullseye competition, maybe you wanted to use it for home defense, maybe you wanted to take your daughter out and plink with it, so it's gotta be low recoil. Well, I still couldn't think of anything better than the SIG P365X Macro, except for maybe the AXG, but since the AXG is so awesome, it's also relatively expensive, so I figured I would put both on the list. First up is the SIG Macro Standard Edition, which came out about 2 years ago. This gun has a 3.5-inch barrel with a 4-inch slide. It comes with an included compensator, a pick rail, a pretty awesome striker-fired polymer frame trigger, and it comes with a red dot mount right out of the factory. On top of that, it's the same height and length as a Glock 19, but again, just like the Canic, it is only an inch wide and has a 17 round magazine capacity, making it extremely useful for every situation. And if you wanted a slightly better version, the AXG that came out this year is the aluminum frame version with the removable grips, has the same great feel, all the same features, just looks a lot better and shoots a little bit quicker. But overall, if you're looking for a phenomenal concealed carry gun that can flex into home defense, you can't do a lot better than the SIG X Macro. We've had this gun on the channel for over 2 years. We have a 1,000 round review of it, and this thing just keeps on kicking. Overall, for the size to weight to price ratio, this is one of the better guns that you can get. Now, we'll do some quick honorable mentions. My personal concealed carry gun that I didn't want to put on this list because I put it on every list, but I wanted to recommend it anyway, which is the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. I absolutely love that gun, but again, put it on every list, so if you want to see that, I have tons of videos on it. The other one I wanted to recommend was the SIG 22. I wanted to find a really good and affordable 22 pistol, but I didn't find anything better than the SIG P22, and since it was on last year's list, I didn't want to put it on this one. But if you're looking for a solid 22 pistol, that's an awesome gun. That being said, let's get into it with number 1 here, and that is going to be the Smith & Wesson Sport 3. The Smith & Wesson Sport 3 is a new release for Smith & Wesson this year, and it is an update on its affordable AR-15 series, giving it pretty much everything you need and nothing you don't. This gun comes in at $700 or under. It has a 16-inch barrel with a full 15-inch M-LOK rail. An AR-15, I think, is the gun people probably need the most this year, considering all the crazy shit that's been going on, and it also happens to be the best hunting rifle and the best home defense rifle, all wrapped up into one. That is why the AR-15 is the most popular rifle in the country. It is extremely light, easy to use, 30 round magazine capacity, incredibly lethal in close quarters, and it has very low recoil. Add to the fact that it is much easier to shoot than a handgun. You need very little training to actually use one of these well, and I think that's why it makes a phenomenal choice for a home defense rifle. If you want to get it in different calibers, you can always hunt with it as well, and AR-15s are very easy to put different uppers on. Probably the best rifle under $700, and I think it's hard to go wrong with an AR-15. If you agree with my list, make sure you put it in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, help out your local homeless shelters, and please remember to recycle. I'll check you later. Mte.
It's a pheasant.
Fucking roosters. Always around when you don't want them, and as soon as you've got a shotgun, they just disappear.